What about moonlight? What about moonlight? What about watching for the moon behind the locked doors and bolted shut bedrooms and the blind side of Vietnamese blinds and cowering under the kitchen table and struggling from the car and wrestling head down when the surprise, when the stranger, when the surprise, when the coach, when the surprise, when the priest, when the surprise, when the doctor, when the surprise, when the family, when the surprise, when the lover, when the surprise, when the friend, when the surprise lacerates your throat, constricted into no more sound. Who will whisper? What about the moonlight? What about moonlight?
You don't have to look very hard to find domestic violence. It is all around us. The CDC reports now that 1 in 4 women in the United States, 1 in 4 women in the United States are physically or sexually assaulted by an intimate partner. And if that isn't scary enough, the state of Georgia now ranks sixth in the country for the rate at which women are killed by their male partners. You don't have to look very far to find domestic violence. It is all around us.
97% of rapists won't spend a day in jail.
You can run on for a long time, oh run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Go and tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
When you're raped, you're violated, and it's a very humiliating experience. And not only is it humiliating, but you lose all your power. So you become very powerless in the act, and it feels like you can't breathe.
People believe when a boy is raped by a woman that he hit the jackpot somehow, okay? It's not perceived as anything negative. It's perceived as, wow, wasn't he lucky? Well, you're not lucky.
Rape is so often compared to death, but I think of it as a robbery because it's something so personal, so special is taken from you.
At age 17, I had had enough and just couldn't bear it anymore and tried to commit suicide. So I took 64 sleeping pills and drank a half a bottle of vodka straight, and literally wanted so desperately to take my life that night.
On average, more than 3 women a day are murdered by their husbands or boyfriends in the United States.
Because I feel like as a girl you hear like, this could happen to you, and if it does, it's probably gonna be one of your good friends, and you're just like, what? No way. And then it does, and you're just like, wait, did that just happen? What happened?
35% of men report at least some degree of likelihood of raping if they could be assured they wouldn't be caught or punished.
I actually was sexually abused by 8 different men, and I was held down and raped by a young woman before I was 13 years old. And so when all those things started to happen, the last place I would ever consider going was to my father. In most cases, I was abused by a scout leader, I was abused by priests, I was abused by family, I was abused by strangers. So the priests, as an example, and the scout leader, these were very close personal friends of my family.
I got up and went to the bathroom, and then when I came back, he tried to assault me. He had completely taken off all of his clothes, and when I laid down, he jumped on top of me and held my hands over my head and ripped off my clothes. And I was lucky enough where a full assault didn't happen. I was able to punch him in the face, I grabbed my bags and drove drunk to the airport and slept until my flight left.
Throughout my childhood, by the time I was 8 years old, I was being raped sometimes twice a day. Can literally say I've been raped thousands of times, and went down a lot of very self-destructive paths. Alcoholism, drugs. Went from there to getting on the performance wheel, trying to earn acceptance, trying to earn value.
I guess it just feels like no one will ever understand you and you'll never be normal. That like something happened to you and you're just like somehow like scarred and no one will ever get it. So even though you're close to people, there's only a certain amount of closeness you can get to them.
I blocked it all out. And I've always wondered when I blocked it out and when it's actually almost ceased to be a memory. But I always had this dysfunctional behavior, and I never could relate to people. I could never build relationships. I didn't trust anybody.
I would say it's felt like someone took your life away because I didn't have control over anything.
Our society says go behind closed doors with a counselor and spend your hour a week, and that needs to be your time to heal. And I feel so strongly that healing needs to take place in community, and that we have got to educate our society on how to have more compassion and truly how to help a survivor heal.
And thank y'all for having me back out again. This is very inspirational for me to come and speak out like this. It took me a long time to get here. But due to the cottage, having counseling at the cottage and learning ways to heal, that's how I began to speak out in public.
I lived a life of isolation. I lived a life of depression. And today, no one loves their life better than I do.
You know, that's always going to be a part of your life, but what you realize is that you've dealt with it, so now you have a new norm. Like you have a new normal.
So if you're a survivor, I want you to break your silence. If you are a friend of a survivor, I implore you to have compassion. I implore you to have courage to listen to that story, to have courage to say, I care. I can take this. There is nothing for you to be embarrassed or ashamed about.
I'm a daughter, a sister, a best friend to 4 of the most beautiful girls in the entire world. I'm a runner, and I am a strong, confident young woman. And I refuse to be a victim or a survivor because I will not let what my rapist did to me define any part of who I am.